My first question is, so you are Forbes 30 under 30. Number
Yes, sir.
one is, how does that make you feel? And actually, how do you become 30 under 30?
How does that make me feel? It didn't make me feel too much, if I'm being honest. It's a nice, nice accolade along the road. I feel like it's part of the path for people who are ambitious and young. But yeah, it's obviously not the end goal. But always nice to celebrate some small wins along the way. But still, just focus on building a big business. And I guess 30 under 30 doesn't have anything to do with that.
Okay. And no, I mean, it's something that I'm sure you look back on in life and be like, hey, I got that when I was 30 years old, right? And
Yeah,
how
yeah,
do you
yeah. No,
actually,
it's definitely cool.
yeah.
It's definitely cool. It's just like those sort of accolades, just like it don't like if the question was like how does it make you feel? The answer is like it didn't really make me feel much, to be honest.
How do you actually become 30 under 30? I'm actually very curious. Do you apply or do they reach out to you or?
That's a great question. So other people would um, put your application in. So our investors would say this is why Jake should be 30 under 30. Maybe our customers would say this is why Jake should be 30 under 30. So it is up to other people to say that you should be on that list, and then the Forbes people curate the list based on that.
Next one I want to ask is about more about your journey. So you grew up in the US, you worked in Israel, and then
Yep.
you then now are in Singapore, right? Do you
Yep.
mind just sharing with us the why and how of this global journey?
Yeah, great question. So the why and how it's always been centered around just following curiosities. I've just always been an incredibly curious person from a young boy. But just to go back to start my story in the U.S., I grew up in Austin, Texas. I played tennis all my life. I was recruited by a university in California called Claremont McKenna College, where I played tennis for them, and I studied neuroscience. That's where I started really learning that I just love science, and in particular, I really love startups. Startups sort of run in my blood. My dad was an entrepreneur. My brothers have all been entrepreneurs. So yeah, I've always sort of known that was going to be my path. So after graduating from Claremont with a neuroscience degree, I moved to Israel to join a biotech startup in Tel Aviv. And it was awesome to work I was an early hire at a biotech startup that was fast growing in Tel Aviv. Israel taught me intensity. Israel taught me pace. It's a very intense place to work, and really talented people. So yeah, that was a really impactful experience to start a career there. Along the way, I started learning that people were using biotech in food, and they were calling this technology food tech. And I found this to be really, really exciting, and sort of really just focused on food tech in particular, and sort of switch sides of startup and investor world to become a VC, investing in food tech, doing scientific due diligence on different food technology startups. And that's where I really got to learn a lot about the different technologies coming out and the different problems going on in the big food industry. And after a while, I was becoming more and more interested in Singapore because it's cutting edge in terms of regulation around food technology. So the fund that I was working at was like, yes, would love for you to go and explore what's going on, do some diligence of some Singapore-based companies. And so I moved to Singapore, and yeah, very quickly, about 2 weeks after I landed here, I met my co-founder and we started Prefer. But yeah, originally I came to Singapore, nothing to do with Prefer at all. Just happened to meet my co-founder here pretty much as soon as I landed.
Oh, okay, wow, that's a very interesting journey. So you kind of tied into what we all want to learn about, which is number one is how did you meet your co-founder?
Yeah, so we met in a startup accelerator called Entrepreneur First. And for those that don't know about Entrepreneur First, it's essentially a accelerator where entrepreneurs who don't know what they are going to build yet can come together and meet each other and come up with the idea that they'll work on. And if the idea is good enough in the eyes of the Entrepreneur First people, then they'll give you a 100K check and you can get going on your startup.
Okay, got it. So what is the thought process in deciding to partner with him? Because in many ways, I mean, people always compare it to it's a marriage, it's even more serious than
Yeah.
a marriage. So it's not just all partnering with a friend, right? So what was kind of going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, so I don't have any kids, but I think it's even more comparable to raising a kid, where you kind of always need to put the kid before your own needs and wants and egos. So I guess the first place to start would be values. What do you both value? What do you both care about? That's where we started, at least. I mean, the first time that we met, we actually didn't talk about work much at all. And then from there, you align on, okay, what are your interests? What are the things that you really care about in the world? What are the things that you're sort of obsessed with? And we realized we're both really obsessed about food tech. So that worked really, really well. He has a background in flavors and fermentation. I had a background in biotech and also as an investor in the space. So I sort of had some rough ideas about problems that we could try and go to solve using DJ's skills and expertise. And so, yeah, our skills really fit together in a pretty natural way to go after big problems in the space of flavors and ingredients, which is what we ended up working on.
And how long did you know DJ before you decided to partner with him?
Uh, Less than a week.
It's a week. Okay, got it. And
Yeah.
you guys have been working together since 2022, right?
Yeah, it's been 3 years now.
Okay, got it. Hey, it's like love at first sight, man. So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, yeah, the more exciting part now, we are continue to go in deeper now about the business prefer, right? So you talked
Yeah.
about how you came up with the idea, but yeah, like exactly how do you come up with an idea? Well, you're like thinking
Yep.
really hard about it, or it's one of those like the Newton story, this like apple fell from a tree, and yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, our idea, and just to give some background about like how I share what we do at Prefer, is that we're making flavors and ingredients from fermentation and future proofing some of the crops that are under threat, like coffee and cocoa. So we're essentially recreating the flavors and ingredients that have been found in coffee and cocoa, but using other raw inputs rather than coffee and cocoa. So for our coffee ingredient, for example, we use rice and chickpea, and then we use fermentation to recreate coffee's flavors, that so that the end experience tastes just like coffee, but it's a more affordable cost and also more sustainable as well. So that's basically in our business, and the companies that we work with are large FMCGs that would have um, instant coffee, canned coffee, or chocolate companies that would have confectionery products, baking, things like that. So just to give some background about the business, that's sort of what we
mm,
do.
yep.
And the idea sort of came initially just from talking to customers and seeing what problems they were having. So we were, first of all, just went out to the big food companies. What are some issues that you're having? Some would say, oh, coffee prices are going up. Others would say coffee prices are inconsistent, or coffee quality is inconsistent. So we started thinking, okay, what are some solutions that we could make to make more affordable coffee, more stable quality, and sort of just try to create the solution around like the problems that they were having. So I had some background knowledge at my time at the venture capital fund as well to help me understand some of the major problems going on, particularly in coffee and cocoa. And so, yeah, that insight sort of allowed us to have some focused questions when talking to customers to try and really understand the depths of the problem. And that was basically it. It was basically just talking to customers based on a hunch. And we had, I think, probably 2 months of 20 conversations a week. And that was sort of enough for us to sort of commit to this idea.